Hello there. Many of you may be using mutual funds for your financial planning or wealth creation. But are you aware of all the ways you can truly use this vehicle to meet most of your financial needs? We know the benefits of long term wealth creation, but how can you plan your incremental investments given that you have an incremental income every year? Or how can you navigate market volatility by choosing different funds? Is there a way to get a regular pension like income using mutual funds? Well, to help you understand better and how to utilize mutual funds for different financial needs, we have with us today Mr. Mohit Beriwala in this episode of One Step Ahead show by DSP Mutual Fund. Mohit is a wealth management expert with almost 2 decades of experience in the financial markets. Welcome to the show, Mohit.
Thank you, Simona. Thank you so much for having me.
Mohit is the CEO of Shree Rama International, a financial advisory firm, and the founder of Shree Rama Managers LLP, a SEBI registered portfolio management services company. He is an FRM, CFA, and IIM Bangalore alumnus. He had started at an early age of 19 years, and since 2006, he has been helping entrepreneurs and professionals with their financial planning. Mohit is also an avid reader, fitness enthusiast, and a techie, and he has been involved actively in providing community services. So, for all the audience here, before we start the conversation, we would request you to share any questions that you have in the comment section, and we shall get back to you at the earliest. So, let's start by understanding a little bit more about Mohit as a person. What motivated you, Mohit, to start your wealth management business? Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and the story behind your wealth management setup?
Thank you, Sumana. The interesting thing is, what I realized was I was a saver myself. I started saving right at the age of 18. And I was thinking, hota kya hai ki if you've got enough money, you start saving a bit, you want to know more and more and more. Uh, if you look at us, everyone is suffering from an information overdose, a problem of plenty. 2 decades back, there was not so much of problems, but now problem has gone up. When I started this, I started it from the very clear perspective how I would want my own investments to be managed. Can I have that same ethical rigor? Can I have that same investment philosophy or a similar investment philosophy and that same kind of hard work for all our clients? I think that's how we started. The primary intention was to manage my own money. Couple of friends came along, uncles came along, and the journey started.
Great. So, would you tell us a little bit about the kind of client profiles you manage in your financial advisory firm, and how many investors do you have? Also, a little bit about your team. How big is your team?
So we are a fairly large size team of 25 seasoned professionals. We are working with almost 1,850 families across the country. Client profile ranges from someone who's just starting off investing to as someone as a seasoned entrepreneur. We've got professionals, we've got government servants, we've got small savers like you and me, everyone, the works.
Fantastic. And what kind of financial products do you recommend to your clients? Do you also recommend mutual funds in their investment journey?
Of course, how can you not have financial planning? How can you not have a financial planning journey and not have mutual funds? Mutual funds have to be it. It is the main and soul. Uh, we basically use mutual funds for everything, almost everything.
Great. So, we have also been talking to so many, professionals in our regular financial wellness sessions that I keep on conducting for various corporates. And I see so many people are pretty confused about the various mechanisms that mutual funds actually provide. They don't understand the difference between SIPs or STPs or SWPs. So, would you want to, tell us a little bit about these mechanisms? Can you simplify these mechanisms for us to
Yes.
understand?
Absolutely. This is a very relevant question because a lot of people are confused. What is SIP? I don't understand these jargons. भाई थोड़ा simple हिंदी में बताओ what exactly is this? SIP is basically like a recurring deposit. Now, instead of money going into a deposit every month, it goes from your bank account to the mutual fund. Lot of us get paychecks on first of month. If someone is an entrepreneur, they would probably have cash flows better after GST payments around about 18 20th. So you fix a date which is comfortable for you, whatever date it works. You can have it monthly, you can have it weekly. Some funds also offer daily basis, maybe a quarterly or a half yearly as well. Money is debited from your bank account and is invested. That is SIP. Money saved is money earned. That is SIP. The second part is systematic transfer plan. Why is it relevant? It is relevant. Let's say you want to transfer money from one scheme to another scheme, and you don't want to do it now. You want to stagger it, automate it. That is systematic transfer. The third thing is systematic withdrawal plan. Now, sounds very interesting, right? What is systematic withdrawal plan? It is basically SIP in reverse. I have got, let's say, 100 bucks and I want to withdraw 4 rupees a year. How do I do that? I tell the mutual fund company, hey, I want this 4 rupees. Let's assume 30 paisa a month, 33 paisa a month. Give it to me every month regularly for the rest of my life. That is systematic withdrawal plan. SIP is for investing, SWP is for withdrawal, and STP is for transfer. Investment, transfer, withdrawals. Simple.
Great. So this is interesting, and we are going to go in depth with all of these techniques. So let me start by asking you, the difference between lump sum way of investing and SIP, which is a better way, and is there other typical market circumstances under which these techniques work well? Is volatility a reason why you should choose one technique and not the other? Could you please tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. So first and foremost, I can tell you the two investing frameworks how you should look at it. The first framework is availability of cash flow, and second is what is it better? क्या वो सही है? First is of course if you got money lump sum, then of course lump sum is invested preferred. But if you are getting regular cash flows like your salary or you're drawing money from your business on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis, SIP is better. Now, from a technicality perspective, over a 120-year global track record, 75% chances that a lump sum investment is better than an SIP investment. But then why do people do SIPs? Yes, I'll repeat it. Over a 75% chance, a lump sum investment is much more profitable compared to a systematic investment plan. But SIP offers something very, very unique. It offers human psychology को तोड़ने के लिए फायदा. I'm giving an example. Market is high right now. Markets may be volatile. I want to invest, but I'm not sure whether this is the right time. So can I hedge it? Rupee cost averaging, a disciplined way, no more FOMO, fear of missing out. And of course, that is the reason why we do SIPs. In volatile markets, of course, SIPs are better as you benefit from a market downturn. But also, and most important thing, money saved is money earned. So, whatever gets you saving your money, investing your money faster, go for that.
Great. So, is it possible to accumulate any amount of wealth with SIP? Say, for instance, if I wish to create a portfolio of 2 crore in the next 10 years, is it possible through SIP? And is there any ideal time to start an SIP? Also, Mohit, what if I get late? I take my decisions later. I delay my decisions. Is there a consequence for that as well?
So, there's a Hindi saying, देर आए दुरुस्त आए start तो किए. So at least even if you come late, but you start, that is more important. So the earlier you start, the better it is. If you haven't opted for an SIP, the best time is now. I started saving at the age of 18. I've got clients who start saving probably once they are maybe a few months old, and I've got clients who start saving at the age of 84. It is always possible. If you want a figure of 2 crores in 10 years, it is possible. If you're looking at a figure of 100 crores in 50 years, that is also possible. Whatever amount, it is possible. Of course, if you start late, the amount will slightly increase, the amount you have to save. But yeah, earlier the better.
Great. Another very common question that many of our audiences ask is, most financial experts tell us when to start an SIP, but nobody gives us a trigger when should an investor stop. How do we decide when we should stop an SIP? That's my first question. And what happens to the invested funds if I stop my SIP? Are there any penalties involved for stopping an SIP?
So, first, there is no penalty for stopping your SIP. आपके खुद के पैसे में क्या चीज का पेनल्टी? So if you want to stop, pause, cancel, increase, decrease your SIP at any point of time, there is no penalty. It's just that you have to click a button, go online, ask your advisor to do it. It is done. Now, when should you stop an investment? Ideally, if you are doing an SIP in an equity plan, the money should stay for at least 5 to 6 years. So if you need the money in the next 5 to 6 years, or 3, 4 years, or 4, 5 years, then possibly you should be pausing your SIP right now, having a conversation with your financial planner that is an equity SIP good for the next 5 years. Ideally, suggestion that before your goal, try to review the SIPs at least 5 years prior so that the money can start going to conservative options as well.
Great. Another common question that I often get from our audience is about step up SIPs or top up SIPs. So, would you want to tell us a little bit about step up SIPs or top up SIPs, and what's the benefit of using this mechanism, and if this is also suitable for someone, say like an entrepreneur, or maybe someone who's into business who may have a fluctuating income. uh, is that possible that they can also use step up SIPs?
You know, we are in this business and we are facing the most challenging times. In today's day and age, consumption, spending, सब कुछ चाहिए instant खुशी, instant पैसा, instant happiness. And for what? We do instant shopping, instant cart, instant delivery, instant streaming. Spending is on steroids. You don't even need money. You can just get loans for spending. But what about your savings? There is no one looking out for your savings other than yourself. So if you see, every year, your expenses are automatically rising at inflation. Your income, of course, you're talking to your boss, you're working in a business, you get a pay hike, you earn more money, that's okay. But what about your savings? Nobody's looking out for your savings. Step Up SIP offers you the opportunity to look at your savings automatically. Example, if you're earning, let's say, 100 bucks and you want to save 40 rupees, you will save 40 rupees for the rest of your life without even looking at it. But you can set up an option that, hey, my income is increasing every year at 10%. My expenses are also increasing every year at a percentage. Can I have my savings also increase, let's say 10% every year? You can set that amount. You can have an option of a percentage increase. You can have an option of an amount increase and just go for it. Even if your income fluctuates, let's say it is increasing every year, and someday you want to decide to pause. Hey, can I pause it for 1 month, 2 months? Yeah, the click of a button, you can pause your investments. You can cancel, pause, redeem, stop, anything at the click of a button. There is no penalty for pausing your SIP, stopping your SIP, increasing it, or reducing it. So use this step up SIP to fight our own battle against spending. अगर हम स्टेप अप एसआईपी सेटअप कर लेंगे अपने लिए, देन वी विल बी बेटर ऑफ. Otherwise, all these Amazons and these shopping websites, they are looking out for their spending, but you have to look out for your savings.
Absolutely, Mohit. I think that's a very valuable piece of information that you shared with us. Just to get back to Step Up SIP, you said that there is a certain percentage or amount that we can fix. My question is it does it have to be notified right at the beginning when we are starting the Step Up SIP, or can it be done any time of the year? If you can just tell us about the mechanism a bit as well.
Generally, if you're saying that if you have an SIP, let's say 100 rupees a month, and you want to increase it by a percentage, you just fill up a form and it changes. So from next installment, or you decide a date, let's say from 1st January onwards or 1st April onwards, automatically SIP will increase. You just have to give them an advance notice of maybe 30 days. That's it.
Before we move on to the next set of questions to all the audience, if you enjoy our content, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to get the latest video updates from DSP Mutual Fund. So over to you, Mohit, again with some more questions. So you were talking about the STP or systematic transfer plan as well. Can you elaborate a little more, in this particular mechanism, and under what circumstances STPs are beneficial?
Um, so first, it's a very simple process. You start an investment. Let's assume it's a fixed income fund or a debt fund, like a liquid fund. That's your source scheme. You figure out a target scheme. Let's say you want to invest in equity, transfer the money monthly, quarterly, maybe an appreciation, maybe a fixed amount, and just agree for it. So every month, a percentage of an amount or a particular amount gets transferred every month from one fund to another fund. I'll give you two use case examples. Let's assume the market is volatile right now or pretty high right now. You want to invest, but you're not sure maybe now is the right time. So what do? You put your money into a liquid fund account and decide to stagger the money over the next 12 months, 6 months, or maybe 8 to 10 months. That's one option. Second option is you put your money into a debt fund, like an FD kind of fund, and you say, Mohit, I do not need the appreciation. I just need the money to be safe. Can we have the interest, which is probably the appreciation every month on the FD fund, the debt fund, getting transferred to the equity plan regularly? Yeah. So your actual corpus, the original principal amount, remains same. Appreciation gets transferred every month to the equity plan, kind of creating wealth creation with capital preservation.
Great. So, are there is it only from debt to equity
So
in
it can
case
be
of
anything.
STP?
You can have it either ways. Let's assume you decide that you may need some capital after 5 years. You put the money into an equity plan, and from there you can transfer it every month gradually to fixed income over the next 2, 3 years or whatever period you want. The transfer can be from equity to equity, debt to debt. The world is your oyster. Just figure out how you want it.
So, however, Mohit, you said that one can move the funds from a fixed income or a debt fund to an equity and vice versa. Will there be tax implications on such transactions? And will there be
Absolutely.
charges involved if I move from one fund to the other? How do I take that into account?
Okay, so by default, every transaction, whether it is a purchase or a sale, like an SIP or an STP, technically it is a transaction as per the income tax. So various laws regarding taxation does apply. Generally speaking, most of the debt funds do not have an exit load, and most of the equity funds will not have an exit load after 1 year. I'm saying most of them, 99.99% of them. Taxation, every time there is a particular transaction happening, like a sale happening, probably a taxable gain occurs. I'm presuming, let's assuming you're transferring money from a liquid fund to another fund. Let's say you've invested 1 lakh rupees and you're transferring 10,000 every month. By the end of 10th month, 1 lakh plus, let's assume, an interest of 3 4,000 rupees is transferred. So that 3-4 thousand is a taxable income on which you have to pay the appropriate tax. But that's an extra income you earned. Now, if you're transferring from equity to fixed income or equity to equity, simple thing. Every time you transfer, you made a sale. There's a sale happening, a taxable gain is happening. That's it.
Great. And is there a minimum amount that one needs to consider in order to set up an SIP? How does one
Very
set
low
up an
amount,
SIP?
maybe $1,000 a month, maybe let's assume 12,000 rupees total. So that's a very minimal amount. I'm sure most of it is problem is solved already.
Great. And
How do you go about it? You speak to your advisor through your mutual fund website, through the exchange platform, whatever it is. It's easy.
is it possible to do STPs or set up STPs across
Get it done.
AMCs? Can we do it like from one AMC to the other, or is it only one mutual fund house that we need to set it up for?
Um, so are you asking between shifting between one AIMS, one mutual fund to another mutual fund?
Yeah, so is it possible to do it, say, between two mutual funds, but they are in different mutual fund houses or different AMCs, not in the same AMC?
Unfortunately, not as of now. So you can transfer funds from one AMC scheme to that AMC's different scheme, but I can't transfer from ABC AMC to XYZ AMC. That is not allowed as of now. But you can
Also,
do multiple SIPs. So you can do SIPs from one AMC, like from your bank account to multiple mutual fund companies, withdraw from mutual fund companies, but transfer is not allowed.
understood, Mohit. When we set up our SIP or STP portfolio, how frequently should we review our portfolios? I've seen people actually getting conscious, if the funds don't perform for just a few months, and they think of switching it from one scheme to the other. What do you recommend? What should be a good frequency when they should review their portfolios of SIP or STP?
So you should ask me, Mohit, when do you review your portfolio? I review my portfolio every year. Uh, you don't want to be chasing too much of a trend. Example, if a particular mutual fund has got XYZ stocks, let's assume power space, and power is not doing well, then maybe your fund will underperform. But let's assume they will do well in the monsoon season or when the power shortage is high. I'm giving an example, or winter season when the power shortage is high. So probably that is the seasonality effect. Ideally speaking, I review my portfolio every year or so, once a year, and I review the specific fund ideally after 3 years, not before then. Otherwise, then you will just be making too many transaction costs, and the government of India loves its taxes. I hate paying taxes, so I want to avoid too much mistakes.
Absolutely, I think that's a very important piece of information. All our audiences should take a note of. Do review your portfolio, but keep a regular frequency. So we understood about SIPs, STPs.
Problem right
Uh,
now is happening is people are, instead of reviewing it regularly, they are bordering on irrationality and reviewing it every week or every day. Calm down, guys. This is wealth creation. This is not income creation. Watching grass grow and investing done right, both are supposed to be boring.
Right, Mohit. I think that's something we all should take a note of. So, moving on to my third, mechanism. The third mechanism that I would want to know about for our audience is about SWP, or systematic withdrawal plan. You said it is just the opposite of SIPs. Would you tell us a little more about SWP? How do one go about using it effectively?
It's very simple. You've invested, let's assume, 10 lakh rupees into a mutual fund and you want a cash flow regularly. Let's assume you want 10 lakh, say 60,000 bucks every year. That's 5,000 bucks every month. So you go to the mutual fund and say, hey, I did an SIP earlier, or let's say there are SIPs, but I want to reverse it. Can you give me 5,000 rupees every month? They will say, yeah, fill up this form or go online or talk to your distributor. Click, 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 job done. 5,000 rupees comes into your mutual fund, from the mutual fund to your bank account every month. Basically, it's a disciplined way of withdrawing your money. You would want cash flows, you want to withdraw money for some reason. This is a great way. It helps you uh, manage market volatility. It helps you make sure that you're not getting dissuaded by market timing. It allows you to be rational and make most of the money.
And when should one opt for SWP or systematic withdrawal plan? And is it possible to combine SIP and SWP in the same portfolio?
Absolutely. So let's assume if you want to do an SIP, so I have got people who want to do SIP into a particular debt fund, but want to invest into a particular equity fund. So they would want to withdraw, do their monthly SIPs, a weekly SIP, but so they are investing monthly, weekly, withdrawing from something and going to another. Ideally speaking, the way we recommend for most investors is do your SIPs till you are working. After you're not working, do an SWP once you retired for your cash flows. That's a very simple thing and the most best way.
Right. So, Mohit, how do we go about choosing, which are the schemes where we can do SWPs? Also, what happens if I choose a particular fund for SWP, with the hope of utilizing SWP, but the fund performance becomes poor eventually?
Uh, that always happens, right? Uh, we may set up a plan and the world comes up with a reality which is completely different from the plan. So that is the reason why you need to have an annual financial review. Ideally speaking, if you have moderated your investment expertise, your experience that I don't want to withdraw 20% a year or 15% a year. If you have a reasonable number between, let's say, 4 to 2 3 year period, you will definitely make a lot of money, even if a fund temporarily underperforms. It can be used as a monthly pension. It's a great income source. The cash flow is guaranteed, but even if the fund temporarily underperforms, it's okay. For the next 2 3 years, it will come back again.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about this popular 4% withdrawal rule from SWP? Can it ensure that, when I withdraw money from, through SIP, it does not deplete the investment corpus?
So let me tell you a very very quick story. Once upon a time, there was a sage, and people were lining up to hear his wisdom. One person was always worried about money. He was worried about how he will live once he stops working and everything. So he went to the sage. The sage said, "Come, bring your ear very close to my mouth, and I will tell you the secret." He said, "The secret is rule of 4%. If you follow that, you are set for life." He was like, "What is the rule of 4%?" The sage said, your equity portfolio should be 25 times of your annual expenses. So let's say if your annual expenses is 4 lakhs a year and you manage to get an equity portfolio of 1 crore, you have financial siddhi. You can technically retire early. Why is that? So if your corpus is 1 crore, you can withdraw 4 lakhs a month, 4 lakhs a year, which is 33,300 per month, increasing at inflation for perpetuity. How does that work? Generally speaking, in India, you have about 6 to 7 growth rate, which is, let's assume, a real growth rate of 6 to 7%. Add inflation of 7%, roughly equities is giving you about 13 to 14% return over a 10-year period. 7% is inflation, keep it aside. 10% of that income, 1.4% is taxes. Net you are left with about 5% in hand. So you are withdrawing 4%. which means 1 crore will give you 4 lakh rupees every year, which will increase every year at inflation, and your corpus will also grow ahead of inflation every year. Slightly simple, Indian growth rate is 7%, you are withdrawing 4%. So rest is appreciation. That's it.
Great.
This
I think
ensures no eating into capital and cash flows grow at inflation. The biggest problem you and I will have is our expenses are increasing every year. Inflation is running high. How do we protect against them? We can have fixed cash flows, but they will not beat inflation. To beat inflation, we need our cash flows also to grow at inflation. That's the answer.
right. So one needs to take care of the inflation factor as well as the the increasing our lifestyle, the entire expenses of our lifestyle also increasing. I think those are the very two very important factors that people need to consider before they plan their investments around SIP and SWP. So,
Absolutely.
getting back to the kind of investors that you manage, Mohit, to what kind of investors do you recommend SIP, STP, and SWP? I mean, can these be used by anyone and everyone, or you will think that at a certain age one should start an SIP and then SWP? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I've got SIPs ranging from clients between like 6 months old to probably 83 years old. It is not about the stage of life, it is about the stage of profile you are in. So if you have regular cash flows coming in every month, an SIP works well. If you need cash flows, want to withdraw cash flows, I've got retired people who want to withdraw cash flows. For them, they're in the age of 57, 60, 65, 70. For them, HWP works well. I've got clients who want a particular corpus very fixed, very safe, and from there, money gets transferred into equity, the appreciation every month. They are between the ages of 18 to 84. I've got clients who want that, hey Mohit, market is volatile right now. Let's keep the money into a liquid fund and then stagger the money over the next 8 to 10 months, including the capital. That's almost everyone.
Right. So, Mohit, you did share a lot of insights and examples with us, today. I would specifically want to know: are there specific suggestions that you would want to give to our audience, especially who are professionals or entrepreneurs, given that you have been managing, financial planning for these set of clients for a very long time now?
One thing is very simple. In this day and age, you are working hard. I think almost every one of us is working hard. Let's make our money work hard. In fact, sweat the money, work it, make harder than you are. How do you do that? Automate it. Automation of your savings, automation of your investments is the best and the only form of money. So if you've got regular cash flows, just do an SIP so that money goes out of your bank account. If it stays there, it has a tendency of getting spent. Automate the savings. If you don't need the money now and you need the money after 5 years in a regular cash flows, let's assume so, go for an SWP. Why do you want to withdraw the money? I have got clients who withdrew the money at the age of 60 and then did an FD. And now their cash flows are not growing. I have recommended them against that. I've always told them keep the money into an equity fund and do an SWP with cash flows increasing at inflation. You need your money to work as hard as probably even harder. Use automation, use rules, and make your life simple. So that investing should not take enough of your time. This is just a sideshow to your glorious life of holidays, family time, professional epic work, all of that. Money is not a very important facet, but you need to be wise enough to know how to manage it.
Mohit, thanks for joining us today and sharing such valuable information on systematic investment plans, systematic transfer plans, and systematic withdrawal plans in mutual funds. I'm sure our viewers would benefit from this advice and expertise that you had shared. To all the viewers here, if you need help managing your money, click the link in the YouTube stream and we will contact you at the earliest. And yes, don't forget to leave your feedback about this conversation. Happy investing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, DSP. Thank you, Samana.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.